This is a solution video for the lab case number 5, Palo Alto Firewall, unit number 1, case number 5. In this case, we are going to see how to configure dynamic routing on the Palo Alto Firewall using RIP protocol, Routing Information Protocol. So in this case, we have Mango R1 router, Mango R2 router, the virtual router 1 running on Mango HO Firewall 1, the virtual router running on Mango HO Firewall 2. And how many areas are there in the case study here? We have 192.168.1.0 area, 192.168.2.0 area, 192.168.3.0 area, 192.168.4.0 area, 192.168.5.0 area, 192.168.6.0 area, and then 192.168.7.0 area. Before the routers could route the packet properly, all the routers should know routes for all the 7 TCP IP areas in the case study. We are going to see how to do this. Right? Now, we know that on the Palo Alto Firewall, RIP protocol version 2 only is supported. Version 2 only is supported. We know the RIP protocol comes in 2 versions. RIP protocol version 1 and version 2. The Cisco routers here, they support both version 1 and version 2. Whereas here also the Cisco router here, this also supports version 1 as well as version 2. But the Palo Alto Firewall routers will only support what? Version 2 only. So what we do, when we configure RIP protocol on Mango R1 router, let's configure in what? Version 2 RIP protocol. Version 2 RIP protocol on both Mango R1 and Mango R2 router. And then let us do routing in this. Now, let us go to Mango R1 router. So before that, let us open the case study diagram on the lab setup now. Where do we go? So let us go to Files. Once you click on Files, then you go to where? Home. Then you go to where? Documents. Click on Documents. Then you see something called as let's wait for some time. Open the documents, you go to what? Cyber Signal Palo Alto Firewall case studies, right? Right click on to open this. Then you choose what? Case study number 5. There, open it again. Then you see what? One zip file over there now. Right click on the zip file, say what? Extract here. So wait till the case study fully gets extracted here. Once the case study gets extracted, then you open the GNS3 file in that and then start all the devices running in GNS3. It says extracted, so double click on it. So now you do what? Click on .GNS3 file here. Say what? Right click, open with GNS3. Now we open the GNS3 file. Now what we do now, as we normally do, we start all the devices in the case study here in GNS3 by clicking on this particular green button. So I say what? Click on it. It says, do you really want to start? Yes, I want to start all the devices. When you start, make sure that everywhere you see green. Everywhere you see what? Green. In case you don't see green over there, anywhere you see red, especially here, you please talk to the lab faculty. They will help you in solving the problem. Once you start all the devices, I want to open a console connection to all the devices. So I click here. Let us click here to open the console connection to all the devices. Now, if I go to HO firewall 1 here, it may take some time to boot, right? So it takes actually some time for the firewall to boot. As the firewalls are booting, let us work with the Cisco routers. In the case study, if you see in the case study here, if you see, we have Mango R1 router and Mango R2 router running what? Running on Cisco routers. Mango R1 and Mango R2 are Cisco routers. So I would like to enable RIP protocol on Mango R1. What do I do? There are two steps in enabling RIP protocol, right? What are those two steps? Enable RIP protocol process on the router as a whole. We enable on the router and then we enable on the relevant interfaces. So I would like to definitely enable RIP protocol process on Ethernet 0/1 interface because I want R1 to send the updates and also receive the updates from this particular router. So I would like to definitely enable on Ethernet 0/1 interface. I don't want to enable on Ethernet 0/0 because there's no router here. But this particular network ID should be known to all the other routers. So what do I tell RIP protocol? I ask RIP protocol to redistribute the connected routes. Redistribute the connected routes into RIP protocol. Right? Then because this particular network ID 190 to 1.1.0 is a connected route, that will be redistributed by Mango R1 router into what? The RIP protocol running on Mango R1 into RIP. Right? So let's see how to do that now. So now I go to the case study here. I go to Mango R1. On Mango R1, I give the command configure terminal. I say router RIP and I give the command version 2. Router RIP version 2. Then again I say exit. I say again I go to router RIP. There itself I give the command network 192.168.2.0. 192.168.2.0. Again, I also give the command redistribute the connected network IDs. So what did I do on the Mango R1 router? We enabled RIP protocol. Which version of RIP protocol? RIP protocol version 2. And then we enabled on the interface Ethernet 0/1 by giving the command network so. What is the importance of network command? Means what? Enable RIP protocol process on the interfaces having the IP address of 192.168.2.0. Which interface in the diagram here has got this IP address? Ethernet 0/1 has got the IP address of 192.168.2.0. So RIP will be enabled on this interface. So the importance of network command is enable RIP protocol process on the interface having the IP address of so network. And then what do? I also give the command redistribute the connected network ID because we did not want to enable on Ethernet 0/0. If you see the diagram, because no router is available here. But we wanted this network ID to be known to other routers. We give the command redistribute connected to RIP. And how do we verify our configuration? So I go here. I give the command show run, show run, pipe, section, router, rip. Show me in the running configuration the section where you give the commands router rip, right? So these are the commands we give, right? So router rip, right? Now it shows, sorry, router rip, R-E-T-R, right? Once you give the shows like this. So this is a command to see whether you have done the configuration correctly or not. Show running config section router rip. It shows that router rip command has been given, version 2 command has been given, network 192.1.2.0 has been given, redistribute the connected command also has been given, right? And also you can give the command show IP protocols. When you say show IP protocol, shows that the routing protocol is, which particular command did I give here now on the Cisco router? Show IP protocols. It shows routing protocol is RIP. It shows how it has been configured, RIP protocol process. It says routing for what network ID? 192.168.2.0 and redistributing the connected routes into RIP protocol. What do I redistribute? RIP routes as well as connected routes. I redistribute into what? RIP. So once you make sure this is done, now let us go to Mango R2 router. If you see in the diagram here, if you go to the class, the diagram here, where do you go? If on Mango R2 router also we enable what? RIP protocol and enable RIP protocol on the router as a whole and as what? Version 2 RIP protocol and enable on this interface. Do not enable on this interface. But how do you make the 7 dots in network ID come into RIP protocol? You say what? Connected routes into RIP protocol. Redistribute the connected routes into RIP protocol, right? So let's see how to do it on Mango R2 router. Once I go to Mango R2 router here, I give the command configure terminal. I say router RIP. I say version 2 and I give the command network 192.168.6.0 and I give the command redistribute the connected network IDs, right? So enable the command router RIP, also made as what? Version 2. Enable on the interfaces having the IP address of so-and-so network ID. Redistribute the connected routes. That's how I configure on Mango R2 router. Once you do that, I say exit. Again, I say what? Exit. Now I give the command show running config pipe section, which particular section? Router RIP. When you say end, it shows that RIP protocol router RIP command has been given. Enabled what? Version 2 RIP protocol. Enabled on this particular interface having the IP address of so-and-so network ID. Redistribute the connected network. So all these commands have been given. And how to verify? Show IP protocols. When you give the command show IP protocol, it shows that routing protocol is what? RIP. Routing protocol is what? RIP. And that's how it's configured, right? In that, if you see what's the command again? Show IP protocols. Then again, if I go here, it says what? Routing for what network IDs? So and so network ID. Redistributing connected routes, right? And send version 2, receive version 2. So version 2 has been enabled on the Cisco router here. So if you see the diagram, we have enabled RIP protocol on Mango R1 and also Mango R2 router. With what version? Now we need to log on. We need to log on from the management system, log on to firewall 1 and also log on to firewall 2. And then on the firewall, configure RIP protocol on the virtual router VR1. and also configure virtual router VR, firewall 2 VR1, firewall 1 VR1, right? So let us log on to the firewalls first of all now. How do we do that? Now I go to activities. Activities. I go to here. Okay, before doing this, because I did not give time for you to do this, do the task. Do the task so far where you configure Mango R1 router and Mango R2 router. Take some time now. Configure Mango R1. Pause the video for some time. Configure Mango R1, Mango R2 with report as shown before, and then we'll log on to the firewalls. Now from so now we have configured Mango R1 and Mango R2 router in the first task. Now we need to configure Mango HO Firewall 1 and Mango HO Firewall 2 also with what? Report. But before that, we should log on to the Mango Firewall 1 and Firewall 2, right? As so we do, we log on from this particular management system, log on to the first firewall and log on to the second firewall. And then configure Firewall 1 VR1, Firewall 2 VR1. So first of all, let us log in now. So when you go to activities here, I open VMware. I open VMware from here. So already I've opened it for you. If you're not open, please open VMware. Now go to the VMware. So I click on this particular My Computer button here now. I collapse everything. Now I go here, Mango Management System, start the guest operating system. Start the guest operating system. So I click on this. Now I log on to the Mango Management System now. I give the password as small p at the rate of SSW0RD and log on to the Mango Management System. So as usual, again, we check the connectivity. So I go to the command prompt. I open the command prompt by the command CMD. Here I give the command ipconfig. It shows that IP address is what? 192.168.80.89.10. From there, I try to ping both the firewalls and check if they are connected or not. So I give the command ping 192.168.89.1. I'm able to ping the first firewall. Second, again, I give the command ping 89.2. Also, I'm able to ping now 89.2. Also, I'm able to ping, right? Once you confirm that these two firewalls are reachable from the management system, now open the Firefox. Open the Firefox browser by clicking on it. Now we connect to the first firewall. When you say not now, I say what? https://192.168.89.1. Again, I say what? Advanced. I go down. I say accept the risk and then continue. I open, again, I give the username as admin. Password as what? Capital P at the rate of SSW0RD. And then I log on to the Palo Alto Firewall. Now open one more window here. Again, one more tab. Again, I give what? I would like to second firewall, https://192.168.89.2. Again, I say advanced. Again, I go down, accept the risk, and then continue. So again, I say what? Admin, username is what? Admin. The password is what? Capital P at the rate of SSW0RD. Now I say what? Login. So I logged on here at the first firewall. Here I'm logged on to what? The second firewall. If at all you get any pop-up like this, say do not show this again. I say close. I go to show firewall 2. Again, you say what? Do not show this again. And then say what? Close. HO firewall 1, firewall. Now, if I go to HO firewall 1, if I go to network, I go to interfaces. The interface already configured here. So in the previous classes, I did not configure the interfaces, but in this case, it is already configured. What all is already configured? HO firewall 1 VR1. The name of the router was changed from default to VR1. Security zone, zone 1, zone 2, zone 3 are also configured. The interface Ethernet 1/1, 1/2 and 1/3 also have been configured with proper IP address and proper security zones. Right? This has already been done on HO firewall 1. You can see this. Once you go here, go to the network and go to what? Interfaces. Then you go to Ethernet 1/1, layer 3, IP address, VR1 and zone 1. Already configured. Even if it's Ethernet 1/2, layer 3, IP address, and also let's say VR1 and also what? Zone 2. Already configured. Even if it's Ethernet 1/3, layer 3, IP address, and also what? VR1 and also zone 3. Already configured, right? You don't have to configure interface again. We need directly go and then configure what? RIP protocol on the Mango HO firewall 1. How do I do that? So under network, again we go to what? Virtual routers. So under network here, we go to what? Virtual routers. Choose HO firewall 1 VR1 virtual router. Now what do? You log into VR1. There you go to what? RIP protocol. Where? On Mango HO firewall 1 VR1. I choose what? RIP protocol, RIP protocol. So I click on RIP protocol. Then what do? I choose enable RIP protocol. Enable. So first thing I choose what? Enable RIP protocol on VR1. Then under interfaces, I should choose what? I should enable RIP protocol on what interfaces now? Now let us see the case study diagram. If you see the case study diagram here, on HO firewall 1, I would like to enable RIP protocol only on Ethernet 1/1 interface and Ethernet 1/3 interface. I do not want to enable on Ethernet 1/2. Why? Because here there is one router. So these two routers would like to exchange the routes with each other. Here also these two routers would like to exchange the routes with each other. But in this case, no router is there here, right? So I don't want the RIP protocol to keep on sending updates every 30 seconds here unnecessarily. So I don't want to enable on this interface. So would like to enable only on the Ethernet 1/1 and Ethernet 1/2 only, and do not enable on Ethernet 1/2. But if you don't enable on Ethernet 1/2, this network will not be known to other routers, right? I want this network to be known to other routers. So what do? I ask the RIP protocol to redistribute the connected route on Ethernet 1/2 into RIP protocol, right? So let's see how to do all this now. So first I would like to enable RIP protocol on Ethernet 1/1 and 1/3 interface. How do I do that? If you see the lab setup here. Under interfaces, I click on add. I click on what? Add. Under interface, I click on what? Add. So I go to add. Click on add. There I choose Ethernet 1/1 interface. I say what? Okay. Again I say add. I choose what? Ethernet 1/3 interface. Again I say what? Okay. So I'm enabling on only Ethernet 1/ interface and Ethernet 1/ interface. But I don't want any Ethernet 1/2, right? So what I do? I go to redistribution profile. Redistribution profile here, where I go to redistribution profile on VR1. There I say add a profile. How do I add a profile now? I say add a profile. I give the name as connected CON-2-RIP. Just a name, any name I can give. I give priority as 1. And most important, I choose this option called redistribute. Redistribute, right? Whatever is matching, redistribute. By default, the option is what? Do not redistribute. This will be by default tick mark here. This will not be tick chosen. So always try to choose what? Redistribute. Very important that you don't miss this point. Then I say what? General filter. What am I redistributing now? Connected routes. On which interface? Ethernet 1/2. I choose Ethernet 1/2. So what do you mean by this? The connected route of Ethernet 1/2, connected route should be redistributed. The connected route on Ethernet 1/2 should be redistributed. That's the meaning of this particular profile. So where do I choose the profile? Once I create the profile, I go to RIP protocol, right? Under RIP protocol, under RIP, I go where? Export rules. Export rules. And then what do? I click on export rules. Now, there I choose, I say add. Under export rules, I go to where? Add. And then add the connection to RIP profile. So I'm asking the RIP protocol running on VR1 to redistribute the routes matching the profile, so and so redistribution profile. Now I say what? Okay. I say okay. I say what? Connect. Commit the changes. Commit the changes. Right? So once you commit the changes now if I go to see the case diagram now. So once you commit the changes, if I go to, let's say, Mango R1, I should be knowing about what? 3 dots on network ID and 4 dots in the routing table because of what? RIP protocol. Again, if I see routing table of VR1, I should see about what? 1 dots on network ID because of what? RIP protocol. So these two routers should be talking to each other and learning the routes with each other, right? So let us verify that now. So again, I go to the lab setup here. I go to lab setup. I go to activities. I click on activities and then go to activities. There I go wherever the command consoles are open, right, for all the devices. So now I go to this activity. Now, there again I choose what? Mango R1 router. In Mango R1, I give the command show IP route. I give the command show IP route. There I see what? On Mango R1, I can learn about what? 3.0 and 4.0 from HO Firewall 1. RIP routes, RIP routes, right? If at all I want to filter and then see show IP route, RIP routes. It shows that these two routes are learned from the Mango HO Firewall 1. Similarly, I go to HO Firewall 1. There I say username is admin. I log in. Capital P at the rate of SSW0RD. I log on to the firewall. Once I log on to the firewall here, I give the command show routing. show routing route. When I give the command show routing route on HO firewall 1, I can see these routes in the routing table. So when I go here, so I go here, I show routing route, right? And if you see here carefully, I learn about what? 192.161.0 because of what? RIP protocol. So this route has been learned by HO firewall 1 because of what? RIP protocol. If at all you want to give the command show I routing route, type RIP. It shows that routes are being learned from the other route. So 1.0 network ID is shown, right? From where? 2.1 R. And also learns about 2 and 3 because this enabled RIP on these two interface shows also this, but they're not active. Active flag is not there, right? Because they learned because of what? Connected, not via RIP protocol, but this one will be active. So pause the video now for some time, then finish off the lab till here. Make sure that you configure on Mango R1 and also on HO Firewall 1 the protocol. Make sure that Mango R1 and Firewall 1 are exchanging the routes with each other. If at all you have find any difficulty in getting the results, please talk to the lab faculty. They'll be more than willing to help you out in doing it. Fine. Now let us continue now with the next task. As we configure RIP protocol on HO Firewall 1, let us now configure RIP protocol on HO Firewall 2. What is HO Firewall 2? So let us configure RIP protocol on Ethernet 1/3 interface. Ethernet 1/2 interface. We do not configure on Ethernet 1/2 interface, but I want this network ID to be known to all the routers. So say what? This is a connected route. We say the connected route should be redistributed into RIP protocol. So let us do all this on HO Firewall 2 now. So again, I go to activities here. I go to the VMware. Now I go to HO Firewall 2, the second firewall. On the second firewall, again, when you go to network, when you go to interfaces, you see that the interfaces are already configured. Network under interfaces, Ethernet 1/2 and 3, already layer 3, IP address has been assigned to so-and-so virtual router, belonging to so-and-so source. Already this has been configured on the firewall 2. That has been done by me already. You need to only configure the RIP protocol. So let us go to virtual routers here. So where am I now? On the second firewall, I go to network. From there, I go to virtual router. Then I go to what? Firewall 2 VR1. There I open this. Once I open this, I go to what? On firewall 2 VR1, I go to what? RIP protocol. I go to RIP. There what do? I choose what? Enable. I enable RIP protocol on the router as a whole. Then I need to enable on Ethernet 1/1 and 1/ interface as shown in the diagram. So I say add Ethernet 1/1. See the diagram? I say OK. And also Ethernet 1/3 as per the topology diagram. I enable on Ethernet 1/1 and 1/3. I say OK. I did not enable on Ethernet 1/2. Now what we do? I go to redistribution profile. I see the top here now, redistribution profile, right? I go to redistribution profile. There I add a profile. I add a redistribution profile here and I give a name to it. I click on it and give the name as what? I say connected CON-2-RIP and I give the priority value as what? 1. I say what? Redistribute. See, by default, no redistribute is chosen. Whatever is matching should not be redistributed. But I want to redistribute, right? So we choose what? Redistribute option here. Then again I choose connected and I say add and I choose what? Ethernet 1/2. What do you mean by this? The connected route on Ethernet 1/2 should be redistributed. That's what it says. But where do I call it? I call it in RIP protocol. So now I say okay. Now again I go back to RIP protocol now. I go to RIP protocol now and choose that particular profile. So I say RIP protocol. There, where do I go on RIP protocol? Export rules. On RIP export rules, right? So there I click on export rules now. Then I say add. Then I say add. I say export means redistribute the routes according to the profile called as connected to RIP protocol. So I went to RIP protocol, right? I'm saying export or redistribute those routes that are matching the profile connected to RIP. Now I say what? Okay. Right? Now again I say what? Commit the changes. Once you commit the changes, now what happens now? Now if you see the diagram, the case study diagram, if you see the case study diagram now, RIP protocol has been enabled, right? So what happens now? These two routers will talk to each other, they exchange the routes. This also will talk to each, exchange the routes. These also will exchange the routes, right? So all the routers should know about all the network IDs now. Mango R1 should know about what? 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, 5.0, 6.0, 7.0, right? All the network IDs should be known to all the routers because we enable RIP protocol on all the 4 routers, right? So let us go to Mango R1 and see whether Mango R1 knows the routes for all the 7 network IDs or not. So again, I go to the lab setup here. Under activities, I choose this, right? That's where all the console connections are open now. So I go here, I click on it. There I go to Mango R1. I click on this, I go to what? Mango R1. Where am I clicking now? I go here. There I choose what? Mango R1. I go to the Mango R1 router. There I give the command show IP route. When you say show IP, it shows the routes routing table for 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? And it shows that other routes I'm learning. So show IP route, RIP routes in the routing table. You show these routes are because of what? RIP protocol, right? So Mango R1. What about the firewall one? Show firewall one. I could show firewall one. I say show routing route. Under that, I say enter. So HO firewall one also knows about HO firewall one. I give the command show routing route. It knows about what? 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, 5.0, 6 and 7.0, right? All because of what? RIP protocol routes. And if at all you want to filter and see routes by RIP, show routing route, type RIP. It now shows that these routes are there in the routing table. Because of what? RIP protocol. What routes are there in our show firewall 1, 4, 1, 5, 6, 7. So these are active routes, right? Actively added in the routing table. So these routes are there because of RIP protocol. Fine. Let us go to HO firewall 2. Again, I go to HO firewall 2. I give the command username is admin. I say password is capital P at the rate of SSW0RD. Now where do I go now? I give the command show routing route. I say show routing route. I can see these routes in the routing table. I see routes for 1.0, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All the 7 routes are there in the routing table of HO firewall 2. Show routing route, type RIP routes, right? It shows all the routes are there because of what? These routes are because of RIP. And shows A, right? So these alone you can see active routes, right? So these are added in the routing. Similarly, I go to Mango R2 router. I go to Mango R2 router. I say show IP route. Again, it says the routes are there for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All the 7 network IDs are known to all the routers here, right? So once you do this, again I give the command show IP route, rip routes, which shows that these routes are there because of what? Because Mango R2. So all the routers in the case study here, please see the case study diagram now. Here we have say all Mango R1, Firewall 1 VR1, Firewall 2 VR1, and Mango R2 routers. All of them exchange the routes with each other. So all the routes in the case study are known to all the routers, right? So routing is not a problem. But then, if at all I go to this particular system, from there if I try to ping 3.10, 3.20, 5.10, 5.20, 7.10, 7.20, for the packet to go and reply to come back, routes are there in the routing table of the routers, concerned routers, routes are there. But then the security guard here on HO firewall and HO firewall 2, this particular security guard will be dropping the packets, right? So what do I tell the security guard? When the packets are going from zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, all these packets are going any direction, allow all the packets to go, right? So how do I do that now? Let us change the security policy. We have done it many times. We'll do it again. So I go to activities. I go to the VMware now. I go to the first firewall. There again I go to what? Policies. Under policies, I go to security policies. On HO firewall 1, I go to policies. From there I go to what? Security. There I say what? Add a new security policy. So once I click on add, it opens a dialog box like this, right? So I'm adding a security policy on P1. This firewall saying what? Policy P1. When the packets are coming from zone 1 or zone 2 or zone 3, going to zone 1 or zone 2 or zone 3, it's coming from zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, going to zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, any application, any service, allow the packets to go, right? I say what? Okay. Now what do I do now? I say commit the changes. I say what? Commit the changes. Similarly, I go to HO firewall 2. What do I do in HO firewall 2? I go to HO firewall 2. There, again I go to policies on HO firewall 2. So I go to policies on HO firewall 2. There again I choose what? Security policy. So on HO firewall 2, I go to policies. There I go to what? Security policy. I say what? Add. And add a new security policy here. I say click on add. Add a new security policy here saying P1 policy. P1 policy saying what? Saying when the packets are going from zone 1 or zone 2 or zone 3 going to zone 1 or zone 2 or zone 3, coming from zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, going to zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, any application, any service, allow the packets to go, right? So I give the command, I say what? Commit the changes. Once I commit the changes, now we give a policy on both the firewalls to allow the packets to go from any one of these 3 zones to any one of the other 3 zones, right? So now if I say close, if I go to HO firewall 2, I say close. Now what I do? I go to activities now. I choose Mango System. Mango System. I give the command show IP. Where am I? I'm at, see now, see the diagram now. I'm at 1.10 system. From there I would like to ping 3.10, 3.20, 5.10, 5.20, 7.10, 7.20. The packet can go, reply can come back. Everything is working fine on the firewalls, right? Routing has been done properly. Security policies also have been given so that we can send the traffic. I say what? Ping 192.168.3.10. Enter. So I get the reply. Similarly, let us ping from here 3.20. Also, you're able to ping. Can you ping 5.10 and 5.20? So I go here, I say what? 5.10. 5.10. I could get the reply. Can I also ping 5.20? So I go here. I choose what? 5.20. I could get the reply. So I'm able to ping from 1.10, 3.10, 3.20, 5.10, 5.20, and also ping 7.10 and then 7.20, 7.10, and also ping whom now 7.20, 7.20. So in this particular case study, we have seen as to how to configure RIP protocol on the Palo Alto Firewall and also on the Cisco routers. So all of you also do this particular task till here. If any issues are there, please talk to the lab faculty. They'll be more than willing to help you out in doing the labs.